Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Wow. I don't know what to say now. We'll try again. Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you here to our DARE graduation. If you don't know who I am, I'm Craig Rutter. I'm elementary principal and superintendent and toilet plunger guy or whatever needs to be done on a daily basis. But seriously, I'm really grateful to be here with all of you today to take part in the 5th grade DARE graduation. I wanted to start off by, first of all, congratulating all of you on completing the DARE program. Unless, of course, Chief, there's some that didn't make it.
Well, we did discuss that a little at lunch, so.
Okay, all right. So there might be some awkward moments later on. Okay. No. Certainly, we're lucky to have the DARE program here in Rao. We're lucky to have Chief Becker, and he was really the main reason why we do have the program. It's his efforts. Without his efforts, the program wouldn't be here. And as you 5th graders know, he's been coming into your classroom since the beginning of the year, teaching you the lessons of the DARE program. I'm sure he's touched on a lot of important topics, and I'm sure we're going to hear some of those probably in your letters. Is that correct, those of you that are reading? Okay. And this says, yep, you are. Okay. So during his weekly visits, I know Chief and I have talked that one of the great benefits of him coming in weekly is that he gets to know these young people, and they, a lot better, and they get to know him, and that's probably one of the most important benefits of the program. So we're very lucky to have Chief Becker. Let's give him a round of applause. I'm going to turn it over.
Well, I'd like to echo on what Craig says. Thank you, all of you guys, for coming, because you guys out here are the reason that these kids are going to be successful. I have, in the last few weeks, given them a toolbox that I think they're all aware of and what they need to do with, but they will all do well. But I appreciate all of you guys for coming to support them and show them that they all are good kids, except they weren't always in DARE, but most of the time they were. Well, and I will echo on what Mr. Vetter said. I know a few of you were nervous and asked if a kid ever has failed DARE, but all of you guys passed, so it will be a good day. Okay. So the first thing that we do in our DARE program is we would love to have all of them get up and read, and a week ago Thursday they all got up in front of the class and read. I thought it was a good way for them to figure out what it's like to be up in front of people and read. But I stole the idea of the DARE report. Instead of just writing a report to you that just says what they learned, we have them write a letter to you that says a little bit about what they learned in DARE, what their goal in life is, and how they probably need to stay drug and alcohol free to succeed at that job. Unfortunately, if we had everybody read, we would be here after the buses left. So we had the task of choosing 4 from each class to read. If you haven't received them in the mail yet, because there was a little delay in the mail, you will receive them, but I think you may have all received them yet, but if not. And they're also, if anyone wants to read them, they're all displayed out in the hallway so that everyone can read them. So with that, we will have our DARE readers read.
Dear Mom and Dad, I had a lot of fun in DARE class. If you don't know, DARE stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. Chief Becker came almost every Friday and taught us about a bunch of things. We learned about a lot more than just drugs. Since we learned so much, I would love to share some facts with you. The first thing I will share with you is the difference between a bystander and an upstander. Being a bystander means to see someone being bullied and not say or do anything about it. Being an upstander means to see someone being bullied and say or do something about it. Being an upstander is awesome. Something else I learned was empathy. Empathy is when you understand how someone feels without making them look or feel bad. I also learned how to say no. Like, I can walk away to say no thanks to drugs. We also learn the difference between telling and tattling. Telling is when you inform someone you trust about something important or bad that someone else or you did. Tattling is telling on someone even if they didn't do anything wrong. I could talk on and on about the facts we learned, but I'm sad to say this is the last fact. I learned about the Hope Network. The Hope Network is a network of people that you trust who can help you. I hope you learned something. My goal in life is to become a teacher. I want to become a teacher because I feel I would help a lot of children. It is important to stay drug-free so I can keep my job while not endangering anyone. I also do not want to die. Some drugs can kill you. Finally, my senses would not work well. I wouldn't be able to drive and I would probably be very confused. That is why I plan to stay drug-free. My promise to you is that I will fulfill my goal and never ever do drugs. Drugs are very, very bad for you and you could become disfigured. I want to do good and put good into the world. All of the things that I have stated in this letter are why I have to do good things and stay drug-free. Your loving daughter, Amelia Maynard.
Dear Grandma and Grandpa, Chief Becker taught us DARE every Friday. DARE stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. DARE taught us what we should do and what we should avoid. Here are some of the facts we learned in DARE. Alcohol slows the heart muscle and can cause memory loss, and smoking can cause lung cancer. Did you know that there are over 200 harmful chemicals in cigarettes? And there are over 400,000 tobacco-related deaths each year in the U.S. And that nicotine is very addicting, and once you start, you can't stop. My goal in life is to become a marine biologist. If I'm on drugs, I could drown or crash millions of dollars worth of equipment. Or I could even put others' lives in danger. I might find a new species of fish and not even realize I found a new one. And that could get me fired, and I would have no job. I promise to never do drugs so I can be successful in life. Sincerely, Matthias.
Dear Mom and Dad, this year Chief Becker came in each week and taught us DARE. Chief Becker taught DARE every Friday. DARE taught us what we should do and what we shouldn't do to stay safe. Different things I have learned in DARE class this year are smoking can cause heart disease and cancer. Did you know that almost 50,000 deaths each year are related to secondhand smoke? Also, alcohol goes right into the bloodstream and can damage every organ of your body. My goal in life is to work with horses. I have to be drug-free to work with horses, otherwise I could hurt them. I need to treat the horses well and take care of them, but I can't if I'm on drugs. Drugs would not let me think clearly. If I rode them while on drugs, I could injure both myself and the horse. I promise you that I will stay drug-free. I want to make you proud of me by being responsible and making good choices for my future. I also want to get a good job and live a long, healthy life. From your daughter, Elena.
Dear Mom and Dad, almost every Friday, Chief Becker comes into our classroom and teaches us how to make good decisions and be a good person. That is what DARE class is in general, but there is more. One of the main things that I learned about in DARE was about peer pressure. That is when someone around your age puts pressure on you or persuades you to do something that you either want or don't want to do. For example, if someone offers you drugs and gives a reason why to take them, that is bad peer pressure. When you are faced with this kind of peer pressure, then there are a lot of ways to say no. Here is one example. Give an excuse or reason why, like saying, "No thanks, that's not my kind of thing." Did you know there are ways to communicate without using your mouth? You can look at the expression on someone's face and tell what they are feeling. The last thing that we learned in DARE class was the 5 W's of reporting bullying, which are who, what, when, where, and why, which stand for who was bullied, what caused the bullying, when did the bullying take place, where the bullying took place, and why you think the bullying happened. Those are the main things I learned about in DARE class. My goal in life is to go to college and see what good paying jobs they have. If I did drugs, I would put myself and others in harm's way and no one would look up to me. I would be a bad role model. If someone found out I was on drugs, I could lose my job or go to jail. My promise to you is that I will never do drugs or take any other illegal substance, so I can reach my goal and make you proud of me. Sincerely, your drug-free son, Gage Milkey.
Dear Mom and Jonathan, Chief Becker came in for DARE almost every Friday to help us learn how to make good decisions. In DARE, I learned that tobacco can give you yellow teeth, bad breath, lung cancer. Here are some more important facts. Alcohol can slow down your brain. There are different kinds of drugs. Most medicines are a good drug if used correctly. Nicotine is a bad drug that is found in cigarettes. The 5 W's of reporting bullying are who, what, when, where, and why. Who is being bullied, what happened, when it happened, and why it happened. Those are some of the important facts I learned in DARE class. My goal in life is to have my own daycare. If I don't stay off of drugs, I could accidentally hurt the children. Mom, I promise to stay off of drugs and go to some form of higher education. If I stay drug-free and get a good education, I can own a great daycare. Love your drug-free daughter, Jennifer Ebert.
Dear Mom and Dad, this year Chief Becker came in each week and taught us DARE. DARE taught us to be drug-free and what to avoid. Here are 5 facts I learned in DARE. There are 5 W's, which are who, what, when, where, and why. Besides the 5 W's, I learned about making responsible choices. We also learned about the DARE decision-making model, so we can make safe decisions. Chief Becker gave us ways to say no to drugs or unsafe behaviors and to define a problem and deal with it. Here are my goals in life and why it's important to stay drug-free. As a Lego designer, it would be important to stay drug-free to build the bricks. As a police officer, I would need to stay drug-free to keep everyone safe and to respond to emergencies the right way. As a railway worker, I need to stay drug-free to switch the tracks so there are no trains colliding. I promise to stay drug-free, be nice, and be respectful. I need to do these things to do my goals in life and be a successful person. Sincerely, your son, Mason.
Dear Mom and Dad, this year Chief Becker taught us DARE. He came in every week on Friday. DARE stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. We learned about peer pressure. Peer pressure is when someone tries to get you to do something, which can be good or bad. Another thing we learned is body language. It tells you how someone is feeling just by the way they have their body. We also talked about how alcohol can give you memory loss. Did you know there are 200 known chemicals in cigarette smoke? We learned the W's of bullying. They are who, what, when, where, and why. My goal is to go to college at UW-Madison and become a veterinarian. I wouldn't be able to go to college if I was on drugs. If I became a vet, I could hurt the animals if I was on drugs. Also, the people that own the animals would be angry and get me fired because I hurt their animals. My promise to you and me is that I won't do drugs or smoke
because I want to go to college, get a good job, and I don't want to go to jail. Your daughter, Gemma.
Dear Mom and Dad, Dare class happens almost every Friday and is taught by Chief Becker. In Dare class, Chief Becker teaches us how to make the right decisions. Facts I learned in Dare class are how to say no. One way to say no is strength in numbers. If you surround yourself with people who make the right decisions, it will be harder for people to pressure you to take drugs. Another fact I learned from Dare class was that there are more than 200 harmful chemicals in cigarette smoke. So every time you breathe in that smoke, you're putting your lungs at serious risk. We also learned how to communicate properly with good communication skills. If someone were trying to force you to take drugs, you could talk to someone in your help network to get the right kind of help at the right time. Those were some of the facts that Chief Becker taught us. My goal in life is to become a blacksmith, and it is important to stay drug-free because I might make mistakes forging something. I could also hurt myself using tools, and no one would want to hire me because my job would have been poorly done. My promise to you is that I will stay drug-free because I want to stay happy in life and have many opportunities. Your grateful son, Alexander Jones.
All right, well, first of all, it's my chance to get up and speak, I guess, now, because the fifth graders were concerned about this part, and they were concerned if I was going to write a report or not, and by golly, I actually wrote a report, just to make you guys happy. But first, I have to thank you guys for letting me come into your classes every day and teach every Friday. It's been enjoyable. Hopefully, I've taught you guys something that you can carry with you the rest of your lives. Because I just wanted to share something with you guys in the crowd too. Most people think that DARE is just about drugs, obviously, because when it came to that they made DARE in 1988, it was just about drugs. And as time has come along and everything else, they have figured out that just teaching kids about drugs was not working. It wasn't what they needed. So I just wanted to go through with you guys the 10 lessons that we did, and I'll ask one of you guys to explain what we did in that lesson, if you can remember. You guys do that?
Yeah!
All right, lesson 1, I think was the easiest one, Introduction to DARE and Keeping It Real. Does anybody remember that lesson? That was a long time ago. Amelia?
Didn't we learn what the DARE decision-making model was on that day?
Yes. And you learned what my name was, and you got to find out what all the cool gadgets and tools I have in my belt are. Yes. All right. Lesson 2, drug information for responsible decision making. Does anybody remember what we learned? We learned about 2 drugs in that lesson.
Did we learn about alcohol?
And what was the other one? It's probably in your speech. Jennifer? Nicotine, what is nicotine in? And cigarettes are tobacco. We learned about alcohol and tobacco. Lesson 3, risks and consequences. Gage?
Learned about peer pressure.
Yep, we learned about peer pressure, but I think we learned about that more the next lesson. Alex? It's kind of in the title.
What was the lesson name again?
Risks and consequences.
We learned about risk and consequences.
Very good. Now I'm going to refer back to Gage. Gage, lesson 4. With peer pressure, and we learned about peer pressure. And I think a lot of the 5th graders were amazed or understood that peer pressure can be good. I think most kids always think peer pressure can be bad, but it can be both. Lesson 5, dealing with stressful situations. Savea? Megan?
Wasn't it My Health Network?
No, not quite. Close. Elise? We learned how to communicate, and we learned how to deal with stressful situations. But now lesson number 6, basic communication. What do we learn in that lesson? Madeline?
We learned that we can communicate to people how we're feeling by not talking and them looking at our faces.
Well, I think that was the next lesson. But you're close with communications.
Like your health network.
Not quite. Matthias?
We learned how to read people's body language.
We learned about body language, yep. And lesson 7, nonverbal communication and listening. Yeah.
Angry.
Yes, we learned how to communicate without speaking and how to read what people are thinking by what they're showing us. Lesson 8, bullying. Everyone's kind of be up on this one. Alex? The W's of bullying. We learned how to report bullying and what bullying was. Lesson 9, helping others. A few of you have said this. Megan? The Help Network. We learned where we can find help and where we can go for help. And the last one, lesson 10, getting help from others and review. What was that one? Alex?
Getting help from others. More, my question is Gage will answer.
Were you trying to use the help network to get Gage to help you answer it? Anybody else? I think we learned other places to get help and we reviewed everything that we did. All right, my purpose of that was I just want to show you guys some of the things the kids have learned, and that even though we still call DARE drug abuse resistance education, me personally it should be called something else, but that's what we still call it. But it's not just about drugs anymore. We only have one lesson on drugs. And then I have to do some more thank yous. I have to thank Mr. Vetter for allowing me to come to the school, Mrs. Carney and Mrs. Fletcher for letting me come in almost every Friday and being flexible. Because when I am coming in to teach DARE, as both classes know, my work phone rings, sometimes my radio goes off, I have to leave in the middle of class, I have to do this, or sometimes I'm late for class from things that I can't control. But it all worked out and we got through all the lessons, so I appreciate that. I also need to thank the Ryle Village Board because they allowed me to come in here and teach this. And I need to have my DARE role model stand up because they all came from the high school and I chose them because they are good role models. I'll let you guys sit down. But they were the last lesson that came in and they sat in front of the 5th grade classes and essentially got grilled. I moderated a little bit. I think the only question I didn't let them answer was, who's the worst teacher? Because obviously we're not going to answer that. And probably the funniest question, and I didn't let them answer that either, and some of you will understand where this one came from, was, did any of you TP my father's house? But I said, no, we're not going to answer that one. Because we don't like to get people in trouble in DARE class. But nonetheless, it's nice to have them come over because the kids ask them questions about bullying, about alcohol use, about drug use. Will I get locked in my locker? And some of them have been locked in a locker. But just things, and I think it's a good transition to let them know that the middle school and high school aren't as big and bad as they think that it is. So, then for my DARE report, since I don't remember which one of you guys asked me, but believe it or not, normally when it comes to my time to speak at DARE, I find something to speak about. I spoke about bullying, drug trends, social media, all kinds of different things. And I'll be honest with you, I was searching and searching for what I should talk about, and all of a sudden I thought, you know what? I don't remember which student it was, I wish it was so I could give you a high five, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to write a report. So I sat down yesterday and this is what I wrote. Sorry. On September 11, 2004, I packed my bags and headed to Fort McCoy for 2 weeks. I was assigned to become the next Ryle DARE officer. No one told me what I was in for or how to prepare. I arrived at Fort McCoy and was assigned to a dorm for 2 weeks. The base was nice and the sleeping area was adequate. I arrived in the classroom Monday morning at 8 a.m. We all did introductions. I believe there were 24 other officers trying to become DARE officers just like I was. I was by far the youngest. My first assignment I was given a note card and I was told I had 3 minutes to prepare and had to speak for 3 minutes about teeth. I'll be honest, it wasn't easy, but I learned the value of accepting assistance and teamwork. A few other officers in the audience did assist me by giving me ideas because how does one speak about teeth for 3 minutes? I had daily assignments and lots of homework every night. I didn't realize at the time, but every day I was being transformed into a better public speaker. The weeks went on, and on the second Thursday of class, I was assigned to go to Sparta Elementary School. I was assigned to teach lesson 3 of DARE, which is not the lesson 3 anymore. I prepared all night and even practiced the lesson into the morning. I headed into the school and I felt like a stranger. I didn't know anyone or where I was going. I was also stressed over teaching a 5th grade class. Yes, I was stressed over teaching a 5th grade class. Yes, 5th graders will catch every mistake you make and they will ask you why you made a mistake. But that's where I need to be honest, and I need to let everyone else know that we all make mistakes, including police officers. I'm sure as I was teaching a lesson, I had a red face and sweaty palms, but I made it through the lessons and all the students clapped. That did put a smile on my face. I was also relieved when the 5th grade teacher told me she was going to recommend that I was ready to be a DARE officer. That following Friday, my parents and my now wife, girlfriend at the time, came to see me walk the stage as a certified DARE officer. I still have a picture of Andrew and I from that day. I would have brought the picture, but none of you would have recognized me today. This was a huge accomplishment for me in my early young career. I was chosen by the Village of Rio to go to school for 2 weeks and hopefully graduate and become a DARE officer. They had to pay for my wages, my room and board, and my schooling for 2 weeks. I was very proud to have accomplished this task that I was assigned. It also gave me a help network of 24 other DARE officers to reach out to for help with DARE lessons and other law enforcement issues. I then traveled back to Rio and began teaching DARE the next week. If my math is correct, this is my 19th DARE class. Let me rephrase that. I attended Rio schools and I had great math teachers. I know this has been 19 years. Don't worry, I don't plan on going anywhere. If my plans and my goal work the way I want, I will continue teaching DARE until the day I retire. I believe it's a calling, and I'm preparing youth for the future. Now that leads me to my dreaded question. Does DARE work? My simple answer would be yes, of course. But if I ask myself, is it 100% effective? My answer would be no. Unfortunately, I've had to arrest former DARE students. But I will say this. I can tell you from stories, professional contact,